Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, depending on where in the world you are joining me from. I am 𝐿𝐉𝐼𝐍, and this is the Crypto and Cognac podcast show, as always, live every Thursday, 7 p.m. right here on YouTube. We have another amazing conversation for you today. One of the most asked questions that we get across the community, we're going to seek to answer them specifically to the Barbados environment, but more broadly, the Caribbean as a whole. We're going to be talking with Mr. Joshua Batson, who is an advisor to Bitcoin.bb, one of the major players in terms of the OTC on-ramp, off-ramp ecosystem in Barbados, and the Caribbean. Clearly, I've already been drinking, but I haven't even poured my drink yet. Today, we are having some 𝐂𝐎𝐍 VS. I've been enjoying all the rap battles going back and forth between the Six God, Drizzy Drake, and Kendrick. I'm a little disappointed with Kendrick's latest submission to the battle, actually. But we're here to talk crypto, right? So before we get started, some housekeeping. As always, this is not financial advice. Nothing that we share here should be misconstrued as financial advice. This is all about information, conversation, and education. I share with you, you share with me, and hopefully on the other side of it, we know a little bit more collectively. So without further ado, Joshua, welcome to the podcast, man.
Thank you for having me here. It's great to see you.
I don't know. Are you having a drink? What is that? No, we don't cheers with water. That's bad luck.
I'll put it down. Next time I'll be prepared with a drink.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could just ship you some Hennessy to Barbados, but the duties would impact that.
Duties are high, and we've got Mount K, so I'm happy.
Listen, so the last time, I'm going to segue quickly. So the last time I was in Barbados earlier this year, I was staying at a resort that did not have great cognac, right? They had some low shelf cognac. I'm not going to call their name as a result of that. But for the duration of the time that I was there, they had a bartender. They have an amazing rum bar. And there was a bartender who insisted that by the end of my trip, he would have converted me to a rum drinker, despite me telling him my body does not process rum very well. I mean, he did a pretty good job. I mean, I gained an appreciation for 𝐂𝐎𝐍𝐕𝐄𝐑𝐒𝐓, but I wasn't converted. So cheers to you guys. You guys have pretty good rum, right? Very good rum. But it's cognac for me all the way.
I'm surprised it didn't flip you, but I understand.
So Joshua, before we get into it, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about Bitcoin.bb and what you guys do in the Barbados ecosystem, what you guys do in the crypto space.
For sure. So, as you said, my name is Joshua Batson. I'm a senior advisor to Bitcoin.bb. I help out with marketing research, market validation. So really to provide the backbone and some strategic advice as well. So that's my involvement there. The company itself, Bitcoin.bb, as you've previously mentioned, Al, it's an over-the-counter kiosk that facilitates purchasing and selling Bitcoin for Barbados dollars on behalf of our clients. So that's pretty much what we do, is providing access to the people who want to buy Bitcoin or redeem Barbados dollars for Bitcoin. We help them navigate that process and complete those transactions on their behalf.
Right. So you guys do both. You guys sell Bitcoin, and do you guys buy Bitcoin? So if I have Bitcoin and I want to change, I'm traveling to Barbados, I don't deal up in that fiat currency nonsense. So I want to, but the stores there only accept Bajan dollars. Can I convert my Bitcoin using Bitcoin.bb to Bajan dollars?
You got it. That's exactly right. So you're coming to Barbados, you have Bitcoin in a wallet already, it's set up. you come to us, we'll get you set up with your Bajan dollars so you can, continue your visit and utilize our local currency. And then if you are a Bajan or if someone visiting who wants to buy Bitcoin, we're going to help you finish that transaction as well.
Right. So when I'm leaving and I haven't spent all my Bajan dollars, I could convert back to Bitcoin before my departure.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
And you're saying that you guys do so from crypto. Is Bitcoin the only cryptocurrency that you guys facilitate conversion for?
Yes, we only deal with Bitcoin personally and with Bitcoin.bb. But obviously, that's an entrance into the crypto ecosystem.
Right. And Bajan dollars is the only fiat currency that you guys engage with.
Exactly. So we work with our regulators to make sure everything's above board, and we are prioritizing, in its current state, operating in Barbados, providing fiat Bajan dollars for the sale of Bitcoin.
Okay. Well, I mean, I feel like you're the perfect person to have this conversation with, because you said you're responsible for market intelligence, that kind of thing. So tell us a little bit about what the current landscape is like for crypto, for Bitcoin in Barbados, maybe specific to the on and off ramps, but also the whole ecosystem in general.
For sure, that's a great question. So crypto in general is pretty nascent. It's a growing sphere. It's a growing industry. And because of that, there aren't many players who have fully set up in, I would say, the Caribbean region. Now, in Barbados, we have us, Bitcoin.bb. We, again, will facilitate your purchasing and selling of Bitcoin. The other way to enter the market is we've heard, private sellers who may offer the entrance or exits from the crypto sphere, but they do come with a little bit of risk, right? You're always really trying to make sure the people and companies you're interacting with have that trust, have that level of compliance, so you know what you're getting, your transactions are safe, and the people who are actually facilitating them can be held accountable. So there are private sellers, but there are some issues there if you don't know exactly who you're dealing with.
Right.
In addition to that, there are some centralized exchanges that operate on the island, like Kraken and Binance. So that could be an opportunity for people to get in and get out of the crypto ecosystem. But with that, again, there are some issues. There have been people who've tried to enter the ecosystem using like the bank card on Binance, for example, but have gotten denied. It could be specific bank restrictions. We're not exactly sure. So while there are other avenues, you are, definitely safe with Bitcoin.bb. One other way I can see how people enter the crypto market in the Caribbean or in Barbados, you may have digital nomads where you are as well, Al, and they're getting paid sometimes in crypto. They're getting paid in USDT, Bitcoin, Ethereum, something like that, and they might need to sell that asset in order to get fiat and run their daily operations and their daily lives on the island. So that's another way that we have crypto coming into the region.
Yeah, I mean, I work for a company by the name of 𝐂𝐎𝐍 Inc., which I know has some ties with the Abed Group, and they are a crypto company that is registered in Barbados, and obviously would pay their employees in crypto, and they would need to obviously off ramp to be able to live their lives in the fiat system. You said a few things in your intro and just now that I think your regulator is probably in a corner like applauding, because you're talking about compliance, you're talking about following rules that the regulator was set in place. So give us an idea about the relationship between Bitcoin.bb and the regulator in Barbados. Is it the Central Bank of Barbados? Is it the government directly? How is the regulatory environment for a crypto company in Barbados?
Another great question, and I think I'm going to elaborate on this a little bit more than just that. You've been in crypto for a while, I believe it was since 2020, myself as well. And since that time, there's been huge development in this space. It's been going fast. It's hard to keep up unless you're, in it day to day. And so as a government, understandably so, they are slow to enact, have the full suite of regulations
Right.
and be able to implement them, and that's understandable. However, they are important from, again, a compliance, anti-money laundering,
Yeah.
and countering the financing of terrorism perspectives. It's extremely important from that lens. So what we do while the regulations are being fully drafted and developed and ultimately implemented here in Barbados, we're working with our regulators, the central bank, to make sure we're following all the compliance rules, the KYC procedures,
Right.
implementing them, and even in some circumstances going above and beyond what they are demanding of us to make sure we have that transparency with them and we're acting in accordance with them. So when they do eventually implement the regulations full on, we will be already there and with them in full compliance.
Yeah, doing it right the first time so you don't have to do it over. Yeah, I mean,
Exactly.
it makes a lot of sense. And I think one of the things that I'm happy that you spoke to this particularly is that there is a misconception in the region amongst individuals, amongst institutions, amongst regulators, that persons interested in participating in this space are anti-regulation, are anti-KYC, are anti-compliance. And that is totally not true. We too, it is in our best interest to protect our customers, to protect the people getting involved in the space, because that is going to enable adoption, um, for more people to benefit from an industry that we see value in. So for us, it's not just that we hate regulations or whatever is the case. I mean, from my perspective, it has always been treat with us fairly. Don't apply regulatory structures and regulatory frameworks to our industry that aren't applied to other industries. Don't treat with us more severely, even though we are, as you said, a nascent industry, and give allowances to industries that have been around for hundreds of years, who should already have the infrastructure and the capacity and the capital to implement these rules properly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm glad that you spoke to that particularly. Just from a general perspective, we are talking about on ramping. We are talking about adoption of cryptocurrencies. You mentioned the fact that Bitcoin is a gateway to participation in the broader crypto space. So, how is Bitcoin.bb helping beyond just the on ramping in terms of bridging the gap between the on ramping and the adoption, the on ramping and the adoption of cryptocurrencies in general? Is there more that you guys are doing or have plans to?
I like the way that you put that because you separated the on-ramping and the adoption. And as I'm sure you know, being in the space for quite some time, there is a gap and a chasm for people to understand how to even interact with this ecosystem.
Mhm.
It gets very complicated. There's, digital wallets involved. There's hash or transaction IDs to follow up on. It gets very complex very quickly. And if you don't have the time to fully do your research, you may only get partial information, which can lead you into precarious positions where you may not feel as secure to participate in that ecosystem. There's tons of scammers out there, which I won't fully get into. Um, that being said, one of the biggest barriers for people to adopt cryptocurrency, in my mind, and what we've been seeing, is their general knowledge of the crypto space.
Right.
General, misunderstanding of how it works, how to set up their wallets, how to operate their wallets appropriately and securely, and then after that initial barrier, there's a barrier of KYC or KYB.
Yeah.
So knowing your customer or knowing your business. Sometimes the processes can be a little bit arduous, take a little bit of time, and maybe even seemingly be complex to some people. So at Bitcoin.bb, we go a little bit further than just offering you the tools to, on and off ramp ultimately. We offer a white glove service, so we're interacting with you in person, to take you through the KYC process, to help you set up your wallets, to provide that overview of the wallet with you, get you up to speed in how the crypto space and Bitcoin transactions work. So that way you can leave us feeling confident and secure with operating your wallet. So we're not just setting you up to do those, transfers, but we're taking it the extra mile to really make sure you know what you're doing and you're safe.
Right. So you're not just preparing the lamb for slaughter. You guys
That's right.
are taking it a step further. And I mean, I think it's so important that be part of the process, because everybody wants to move so fast, right? Everybody wants to get involved because they want to invest in a meme coin. They want to move from 0 to 1 million real quick. Before they even have on ramp, they buying dog with a hoodie coin and all kind of craziness. And we know that this space, while super progressive, super beneficial to what we see the world needing, it is a dangerous place, especially for those who are not in the know. And with that said, how have you seen this space evolve over the last 4 years? How has Bitcoin.bb's interaction with customers evolved? How has the average person walking into one of your outlets evolved over the last 4 years?
Another good question. I think that over the last 4 years, the space has grown significantly in multiple ways. There's multiple niches or verticals that have come up within this space. New ones, like this, the AI coins. There's many different areas you can get into. There's real use cases coming up for the technology that's being implemented. And with that growth, you have more people who are investing and amassing Bitcoin, among other assets. But let's call it Bitcoin for right now and for the purposes of Bitcoin.bb. So if you're someone who's amassed an amount of Bitcoin and you're on the island and you're looking to, let's say, do home improvements or put a down payment on a house, these are now ways that you can use your asset and your investment to come to us, work with us, and be able to use those funds in a tangible way. And actually realize, your investment in physical assets. So that's something that we provide and that I've seen grow again because of the growth of the industry and because of the growth of cryptocurrency, the ecosystem itself. In addition to that, there are businesses that are looking to get into Bitcoin investing in Bitcoin holding, paying people in cryptocurrencies again if they have people who work for them in international locations. And with that, we have seen an increase in people coming to us to buy Bitcoin for their businesses. So that's something we've also seen.
Right. I mean, and I'm glad that you went there, because you kind of alluded to it a couple of times before in terms of KYB, in terms of what you were just talking about, persons with their businesses. How have you seen the attitude by not just individuals, but by businesses in terms of wanting to participate in this ecosystem, wanting to hold crypto Bitcoin in their reserves of their various companies? Has that been something that you've seen grow gradually over the time?
I would say with us, we have here in Barbados and with Bitcoin.bb, but even more generally on a market level, we see that all over the world. We see Bitcoin ETFs, a lot of institutional money coming into the space. And it's because it's what I believe it's here to stay. It's useful, very convenient and valuable financial tools are being developed that can be used internationally that grow our economies. So with this much potential, you have to see that growth as well.
Yeah. And I know that Barbados is one of the territories that even though, like you said, there isn't, ironclad legislation on the books yet, there is still the ability and the allowance for persons to report their crypto earnings for tax purposes. How do you think that helps to inspire confidence for people who in the legitimacy of the space, but also how do you think on the flip side that creates fear for persons who might not want to declare their crypto earnings, which is gained outside of a territory, to a government that they are resident in that country?
Yeah, I think there are many ways you can look at this, and the topic is very complex and I'm sure contentious, and we could sit here talking about it all day if we wanted to. Um, I think from a regulatory perspective, we have to have, these standards and to provide that confidence, really, that the sphere of cryptocurrency is being integrated with the fiat sphere a little bit, right? So you do have wealth coming into a location. And I mean, I'm going to really leave it up to the regulators to develop their schemes. But I think that it can inspire confidence for people to take it up because it's, treated more similarly to what they're used to.
Right.
There are cons to that as well, of course.
Yeah. It just came to my mind because you mentioned, the crypto nomads. I don't know the details of what the reporting requirements are. I don't know if it's only for citizens. I don't know if it's only for citizens and residents. I don't know if as part of the marketing for digital nomads that they have some allowance that doesn't force them to have to do that kind of reporting. But I guess it will be interesting to see how that whole situation evolves and how the government balances between generating revenue for their citizens and encouraging outside investment.
Mhm.
So what the big question, right? We already said we do not offer financial advice here, right? So this is not financial advice. But what advice, general advice, in terms of process, in terms of going about it, in terms of maybe seeking information and education, what advice would you give to someone, an individual, a business owner, a institution who is interested in getting involved in the crypto space in Barbados and by extension the Caribbean?
Good question. I think that the main point or main thing I want to emphasize is getting your information from reliable sources.
Mm.
There's a lot of misinformation out there that can lead you to precarious positions and open you up to scams and stuff like that. So making sure your information comes from valid sources is key. You can go on the centralized exchange websites and find basic information on how to set up a wallet, how it works, and all that. There's, very detailed guides. They're a little bit of a read, but that's a great entry point.
Yeah.
And maybe some YouTube videos as well. But I would always try and verify the knowledge that you've gained. If you are in Barbados and you want to learn more and talk a little bit more of how to enter into the cryptocurrency space, just come down to Bitcoin.bb by Hastings Plaza next to Lanterns Mall and just talk crypto with us. We're there in person. We're knowledgeable about the space, and we want to provide you with the information to enter the space confidently and for you to know what you're doing. So if you're here on the island, by all means, come down and we'll talk to you in person, make sure you're all set up and get you that information. But if you're unable to do that, credible sources on the internet will get you, so far, and I'm sure you'll make some connections after that and, find your way through. But it is always easier if you have someone who's in the space, who's knowledgeable, who can talk to you about it and, help you out a little bit.
Okay, and here's where I'm gonna add a shameless plug. And if all else fails, check out the Crypto and Cognac podcast. That's all I say.
100%.
Because we try to bring these amazing, I don't like to use the word experts, but people who are knowledgeable in the space, and have these conversations that you guys can feed off of people like Joshua. Joshua, do you have political aspirations? Your demeanor, your deliberateness in your responses. I mean, guy, I would vote for you. I mean, I'm not eligible, but I would vote for you.
I appreciate that. I really do. I really do.
Josh,
For
any
now, business aspirations. But I did want to, even before we started, and I forgot to say it, I wanted to really appreciate your work that you do, Al. Your
thank you, man.
channel, the information you put out. It's extremely important. And, just thank you for everything you do.
I was already going to vote for you, but now you get 2 votes. I'm voter padding. Joshua, thank you so much for being on. Is there any last words you want to leave us with? Any more information? I mean, you've already given the address. I'm going to leave a link in the description of this episode where you guys can find Bitcoin.bb, their address as well. Anything else you want to share?
It's the only last thing I'll say with the website being shared. We are providing an updated website in the next couple of weeks with some new live features and some good information on it. So if you're looking to start somewhere, check out the website and definitely check out in the next couple of weeks for some really great new features. So I'll leave it there. And again, Al, thank you so much for this.
Thank you so much for being on, man. Really, really appreciate it. Guys, that was Joshua Batson, senior advisor to Bitcoin.bb, and a very, very intelligent guy. I mean, I really enjoyed that conversation. Guys, it's happening everywhere in the Caribbean and everywhere in the world. And like I say always, we can't get away from it. Adoption is inevitable. So until next time, guys, Illuminati out. Be blessed. Cheers.